It's Friday, November 5th, and this is now on HNN. With COVID restrictions easing and the governor welcoming back tourists, a look at the potential boost to Hawaii's economy.
How will the new federal vaccine or testing mandates impact the state's larger businesses?
Could a pill help prevent COVID hospitalizations and deaths? Researchers say the data shows it's a game changer in the pandemic. Plus, a grateful nation honors the late Colin Powell. These stories and more coming up on This Is Now.
Aloha and welcome and happy Aloha Friday. It's Casey and Ashley joining you from the HNN Digital Center, and a beautiful Friday it is, Ash. We do unfortunately have another high number of COVID deaths to report today.
That's right. The state says 12 more Hawaii residents died after contracting the virus. Hawaii's COVID death toll now stands at 944. DOH is also adding 124 new infections today. The breakdown by island shows 67 cases on Oahu, 22 on the Big Island, 11 on Maui, 10 on Kauai, and 1 on Molokai. 13 residents were diagnosed out of state. Kauai County is separately reporting 20 new COVID cases. Now, with COVID restrictions easing and Governor Ige inviting tourists back to Hawaii, what kind of impact are we seeing on Hawaii's economy? Our BillyV went to Waikiki to find out.
Thank you very much. We're here at the Sheraton Waikiki Hotel. We're kind of talking a little bit in hushed voices because Entertainment Tonight, they are working. They are filming right now as we speak. We're kind of right next door to them. So let's go ahead. We're talking with Michael Suderman, who is the Director of Food and Beverage for the Sheraton Waikiki and the Royal Hawaiian Hotel.
Yes, welcome. Thank you for coming out, guys.
Real quickly here, kind of tell us how things have been. Has it been getting busier since the mayor made the announcement and started to open things up?
Yeah, we definitely have seen a big change since the kind of reopening, the repositioning of the large gatherings, as well as some of the restaurant restrictions easing, which is really nice. I mean, you know, for us in food and beverage, we're all about having a good time, throwing a great party and everything. So it's been great to see that come back a bit.
Tell me, you know, of course, everybody that comes to any one of the establishments, they have to be vaccinated or negative COVID test, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody that walks through our door has to either furnish their vaccination card with an ID and or a 48-hour negative test result. So other than that, we don't allow them in our establishment. We make sure everybody is clear. And what's beautiful about Sheraton Waikiki, we actually have a testing site here where people can do it and get it done if they really want to come into the restaurant. So very convenient.
Two more questions for you.
Yes,
One
sir.
of them is that as far as events going, are they starting to increase as far as bookings are concerned?
Yeah, we are definitely seeing a ton of interest. I think people are begging to get together again and have a great time. So we are seeing a great pace in terms of that picking up. Obviously working in lockstep with the city to make sure we're following all the rules and making sure everybody's safe and we're managing it responsibly.
Okay, finally,
Yes, sir.
you are on standby because you're going to be with Entertainment Tonight. You have the Mai Tai Challenge. Tell me, how have you prepared for this and what's going to happen?
So what we're going to do is really tell the story of the Mai Tai at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel, which is where Victor Bergeron, what we say is perfected the Mai Tai over there. So we're going to be showing them how to do it, how it's done, Hawaii style, which is, you know, always fun.
And then Nichelle and Mr. Fraser are going to go at it.
Oh, always. Right?
Okay, we'll see what happens. And by the way, once again, you'll watch him on Entertainment Tonight, and that's shown on KGMB. From Waikiki, we'll send it back to you.
Hawaii's two major healthcare providers are now offering COVID-19 vaccinations to young children. Our Lacey Denise has more.
Hawaii Pacific Health rolled out their program earlier this week, and now the Queen's Health Systems is also vaccinating children 5 to 11 years starting today. There will be clinics at the Blaisdell Pikake Room, Queens West, Queens North Hawaii Community Hospital in Kamuela, and Molokai General Hospital. Queens did a soft launch on Wednesday to go through the process for some keiki and their parents.
I want other kids to get the vaccine, so then if there's enough people who have the vaccine, like maybe COVID might do less damage or go away, and then we won't have to wear masks anymore.
I would tell them just to get it because it doesn't hurt. It benefits you, and even if you're scared of shots, just get it, because either way you're gonna have to get shots anyways in your life, and it's the right thing to do.
Queens is taking appointments online and by phone. Hawaii Pacific Health is also administering shots to Keiki. Adventist Health Castle starts vaccinating elementary school-aged kids at its Windward Mall clinic on Wednesday. All children getting vaccinated need parental consent. You can find more information on how to sign your child up at hawaiinewsnow.com. For This Is Now, I'm Lacey Denise.
A big announcement from Pfizer today. The drug maker says its new experimental COVID-fighting pill may be able to reduce hospitalization and death by nearly 90% in high-risk patients. That's based on a trial of about 800 people. The trial data has not been released yet and also needs to be reviewed by other scientists and health agencies. But Pfizer says the results were so promising that independent experts monitoring the trial recommended stopping studies early. The company's CEO stressed that the pill is not a vaccine replacement, but says it's a game changer in the pandemic. They're planning to ask the FDA for emergency approval soon.
Meanwhile, Britain has become the first country in the world to approve a pill to fight COVID. The little red antiviral drug called molnupiravir was originally designed by drug makers Merck to treat the flu, but researchers found it produces errors in COVID's genetic code, which stops the virus from replicating. Global trials show the pill cuts the risk of hospitalization by half for high-risk patients, and it's most effective when taken within the first 5 days of symptoms. Another benefit, it can be taken at home and doesn't require a hospital visit. In the UK, it's been approved for people with at least one COVID risk factor, like heart disease, obesity, or being over 60 years of age. If the FDA gives the green light, molnupiravir could be available in the U.S. as early as next month. The new federal mandate on vaccines or testing for businesses with more than 100 employees will affect nearly 800 of Hawaii's largest companies. Come January 4th, those companies could face huge fines if their entire workforce isn't vaccinated or taking a weekly COVID test. Ben Gutierrez has more.
This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you.
A recent survey by the Hawaii Restaurant Association showed nearly 90% were against mandates to force workers to be vaccinated or tested. The Chamber of Commerce says some opposed may just quit.
And if they do, how are they going to fill those positions when we're already facing a workforce shortage? And if they don't fill those positions, what's going to happen to the actual business?
Minora McNamara believes that because it's a federal mandate, if employees quit, the burden to help should fall on the government, not the employer.
Government has to also provide some kind of resources to alleviate some of the burdens and the costs and administrative challenges that this will impose on many of employers.
Vaccine hesitancy is highest among construction workers. Many are already mandated under state and county rules regarding contractors. But the Hawaii Employers Council says many workers are likely to sign on once it's shown the vaccine is safe.
I think that the additional guidance from OSHA is going to be well received by many businesses, because now we know exactly where we stand and what we need to do.
More than 240,000 workers in Hawaii will have to be vaccinated by January 4th or tested regularly.
I believe many of our businesses here in Hawaii already have implemented some kind of mandate or some kind of incentive to have more of their employees vaccinated.
Employers want to make sure that they are creating a safe environment for their employees as well as for their customers, so that we can open up business and move forward from this event.
New today, the October jobs report is out and the results are strong. The U.S. Labor Department says the U.S. added a solid 531,000 jobs last month. That brings the unemployment rate down to 4.6%. But the country still has a long way to go to reach the pre-pandemic jobless rate of 3.5%. President Biden called it a great day for our nation's economic recovery.
Today, another great day for our economic recovery. Americans are getting back to work. Our economy is starting to work for more Americans. Thanks to the economic plan we put through in Congress earlier this year and a successful vaccine deployment, America continues to add jobs at a record pace. In this historically strong recovery, unemployment rate has fallen again today.
The president also said forecasters predicted it would take until 2023 to get to a 4.6% unemployment rate, but the U.S. has reached that marker 2 years earlier. Meanwhile, House Democrats are struggling to pass the president's domestic agenda. 2 multi-trillion-dollar spending bills are close to the finish line, but some members, including Hawaii Congressman Ed Case, are holding up votes saying they need to see the numbers and cost analysis first. Susan McGinnis has the latest.
Despite last-minute arm twisting and pleading from President Biden,
Let's build an incredible economic progress.
House Democrats still struggling to unite behind his agenda, hamstringing votes widely expected today on 2 bills. First, a $1.2 trillion plan to improve the nation's infrastructure, including roads, bridges, and broadband, and a $1.75 trillion Build Back Better plan funding new social programs, including 4 weeks of paid family leave, universal pre-K, and battling climate change. Impassioned arguments from both sides.
This is a sad day for America.
I see a sense of great future for America.
Holding up the vote, a small group of moderate Democrats asking for a more complete budget analysis, concerned about how the programs will be paid for.
We have a diverse set of points of view in the Democratic caucus. We celebrate that. That's a good thing, but it also sometimes makes threading a needle like this one a little more difficult.
While the infrastructure bill has bipartisan support and has already passed the Senate, the larger social spending bill has only Democratic support. Republicans arguing voters sent a clear message this week with key losses for Democrats on Election Day that Americans don't want these high levels of spending.
If they go forward with this, they are misreading what the voters said in Tuesday's election.
They argue a $3 trillion agenda would fuel inflation and bust the budget. But for Democrats, taking more time to get it right is worth it. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
Former presidents, dignitaries, family, and friends gathered at the National Cathedral in the nation's capital to honor the late Colin Powell today, a man who shaped American politics for decades. He was the first African-American Secretary of State and passed away last month due to COVID complications amid a cancer battle. Isabel Rosales has more from D.C.
A send-off fit for a man many described as larger than life.
He lived a life of service, and he was a great blessing to all who knew him.
Colin Powell, remembered as a trailblazer and a father.
I took his hand, just as he had taken mine decades before. I wanted him to be at peace. But again, I felt my father's love in that hand.
A rare private funeral inside the National Cathedral, attended by U.S. presidents past and present. Memories of his incomparable legacy, peppered with his love for ABBA.
Colin immediately went down on one knee and sang the entire Mamma Mia to a very amused foreign minister from Sweden.
The son of Jamaican immigrants, raised in the South Bronx. Serving 2 tours in Vietnam, the soldier flourished.
I will never not be a soldier.
After a series of promotions, President Ronald Reagan's national security advisor. In 1989, he became the youngest and first black person in the military's highest-ranking position.
The man that I have selected to be the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Colin L. Powell.
He was so popular. At one point, he was considered a leading contender to become the first black president, and instead became the first black Secretary of State. Now, his legacy lives on through his wife and 3 children.
Colin Powell was a great lion with a big heart. We will miss him terribly.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
The prosecution and the defense began their opening statements today in the murder trial for the men accused of killing Ahmed Arberry, a 25-year-old black man who was fatally shot near his home in Georgia in February 2020. Daryl Forges has the latest.
After weeks of jury selection, we're finally into opening arguments in this case. The prosecution and the defense pleading to the jury as to why they believe Gregory and Travis McMichael and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan are either innocent or guilty in this case. Meanwhile, we heard a lot of emotion in the courtroom, especially with Ahmed Arbery's mother. Ahmed Arberry's mother letting out a heartbreaking cry as she watches video of her son's death for the first time.
I thought it was time to get familiar with what happened to Ahmed the last minutes of his life. So I'm glad I was able to stay strong and stay in there.
It's been about a year and a half since this video of Ahmed Arberry's final moments went viral. Now the men accused of killing him get their day in court.
The issue is not whether there was probable cause to conduct a citizen arrest. The issue is going to be, ultimately, whether the Travis McMichael, and perhaps Greg, used excessive force.
In the now infamous video taken by William Bryan, you can see the father and son duo of Gregory and Travis McMichael chasing after Arbery.
Stop or I'll blow your head off. That's what he said to Mr. Arbery.
All three men have pleaded not guilty to several charges, including felony murder and false imprisonment. They say they went after Arbery thinking he had something to do with some recent crimes in the neighborhood.
They have to show that they were chasing Mr. Arbery because they were trying to make a citizen's arrest.
Attorney Paige Pate expects the prosecution will argue that a citizen's arrest was not justified and that Arbery was simply jogging through the neighborhood near Brunswick, Georgia.
I anticipate that they will just rely on the clear, critical evidence that they already have.
And this trial is expected to last for about 3 weeks. The judge is hopeful to have this trial completed before Thanksgiving. In Brunswick, Georgia, I'm Daryl Forges.
And we're taking a live look at the Honolulu airport. A pretty beautiful Aloha Friday. Some clouds in the sky and a little bit windy. Yes, let's check in, though, with Guy Hagi and see what we can expect for the weekend.
How's it on this Aloha Friday? We're going to have textbook trade wind weather today. That does include a few more showers for Kauai and Oahu. You see, there's a weak line of clouds associated with an old front that's likely to bring a few more windward and Mauka showers to Kauai and to some extent Oahu, while drier conditions will continue for most leeward sides, especially for the east end of the state. And those trade winds will be running breezy today, 15 to 25 miles an hour, especially windy in Maui. Not so much, though, for Kailua Kona. So we've got a beautiful day ahead, but there will be some passing showers for Kauai and maybe some for Oahu as well, mainly for windward sides, lots of leeward sunshine, so that UV index still high at 7. And the only weather alert, small craft advisories posted for some coastal waters. Surf's on the way down. No significant surf expected until sometime next week. Thursday, Friday, look for a big swell coming into north and west shores. Thursday, Friday of next week, high surf advisories might even be posted. Until then, we've got some really nice weather. Breezy winds through the weekend, just a few scattered showers today. Drier conditions coming in for the weekend with just a few minor splashes for windward and Mauka areas, and then lighter winds taking over on Tuesday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Hawaiian Electric says it will take some bold actions over the next few years to help the global effort to slow climate change. HECO unveiled its climate change action plan today, which sets a goal of reducing carbon emissions from power generation by 70% by the year 2030. The company is also committing to achieving net zero or net negative carbon emissions from power generation by the year 2045 or sooner. Officials say key elements of the plan include shutting down the state's last coal plant next year, adding nearly 50,000 rooftop solar systems, and retiring at least 6 fossil-fueled generating units.
Hawaii County is teaming up with TEDx to talk about climate change and sustainability. Cyrus Jonathan joins us now. Cyrus, tell us a little bit about what these talks are going to be focused on.
Yeah, so these talks are really to elevate the individuals and organizations on our island who are going above and beyond to address climate change locally, but sharing those things that they're doing here and hopefully in hopes to impact the world as part of a larger conversation that TEDx has put on through their Countdown program, which has invited cities, governments, and organizations from around the world to share what they're doing to hopefully accelerate action in against climate change.
Lastly, how can folks listen in to this? I'm sure it's going to be a great conversation.
Yeah, so right now, if you want to learn more, please go to TEDxHawaiiCounty.com. That's again, TEDxHawaiiCounty.com. And on there, you'll be able to register to our event, learn more about each individual speaker. And again, this is November 13th. We'll go live. It's virtual, so you can watch from anywhere around the world. Register now. get out there and make sure that you join us on November 13th for an action-packed day of climate change conversations, amongst other things, talking Hawaii Island globally. Our motto is local insights or local solutions can grow global solutions. So we're excited.
Cyrus Jonathan, thank you so much for your time.
All right, time for some good news. Another sign of the holiday season, the Christmas Spectacular starring the Radio City Rockettes is back.
Yeah, and of course, Ash, they always wear the same hairstyle, the same costumes, but this year might even be another reason that people might think that they're seeing double. Check this out.
It's the long-awaited return of a holiday classic, the Rockettes kicking their way back to Radio City Music Hall. But the lineup of dancers...
She's my inspiration always.
...may have you doing a double take. Or 3.
We are identical twins, yeah.
They're Sarah and Katie Daniel.
We are not.
We're not twins. I am older.
Jordan and Danielle Betcher.
Some people, I think, figure it out.
And Miranda and Amarissa Labar. 3 sets of sisters, all taking center stage.
It was always our family's tradition to come and see the Rockettes and watch them perform, which is really cool because now we get to perform together.
Miranda's been here 9 years, her sister 4.
We would try to find little moments throughout the show to look at each other across the stage or give each other a little smile.
Jordan and Danielle are from Cincinnati. They skipped the whole sibling rivalry thing.
I definitely think that we're on the supporting side. Absolutely. Yeah. Very much so healthy competitions. Yeah.
And the Daniel twins, well, this has been their dream since pretty much forever.
We first saw the Rockettes when we were 8. Ever since then, we were just that's it. It was just kind of this mutual decision of ours that we wanted to be Rockettes.
After COVID canceled 2020 show, the sisters have been prepping ahead of Friday's return.
It was a long 2 years. Yes.
Practicing 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for the last 6 weeks.
I'm thankful that I had someone like my sister to be there to encourage me and motivate me when there were those hard moments. Mm-hmm. I think that really magnifies my gratitude for being here and knowing that the journey was worth it, and we're just excited to get back on stage this season.
Here's the kicker, which of course is totally fitting here. Most of the time, the pairs perform on opposite schedules, one during the day, the other at night. So for friends and families, that means twice as many shows to attend.
Our mom will come to about 8 shows throughout the season to make sure she sees us both the same amount of times.
With an added performance in this year's show, the dancers are confident this go-around will be extra special.
The Rockettes are a sisterhood in general, and I feel like for us being sisters, we were this seems so right for us.
Love that story.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I know that we have maybe jumped the gun for some people on the Christmas stuff, but we got another thing that'll get you excited.
That's right. Check this out. So the tree that will stand tall at Rockefeller Plaza in New York has been selected, and for the first time ever, it's coming from Maryland. Now, the 79-foot 12-ton Norway spruce was donated by a family. It will take nearly a week to get it ready for transport before it's set up and decorated. This year's tree will be wrapped in 50,000 multicolored LED lights, which will be turned on December 1st. Can't wait.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being with us, guys.
That's right. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. We'll have all your latest headlines coming up on First at 4. And of course, you can stay up to date with all the news throughout the day on HNN's digital platforms. We'll see you next week.